12 noon. Editors Hangout, the meeting point of journalist by journalist for humanity, society, and the country.
Good morning, 3 minutes past the hour of 11 is Editors Hangout on Diamond 88.7 FM. It's the platform where editors converge to hear their formidable voices and events to happenings in and around us, especially across Adeyemi Nation, Nigeria. My name is Adeyemi Adewale, and I'm joined on the show this morning by 4 veteran journalists. Together, we would be looking at one of the topical issues affecting every Nigerian, irrespective of tribe, religion, or wherever you are in the 6th geopolitical zone of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I have with me in the studio Alhaji Akinlolu Abayomi. He is the publisher of Orect magazine and the correspondent of Global Excellence magazine in Osun and right here in Kwara. Good morning to you, Alhaji, for joining me. Also having Mr. Michael Abiodun Olaniwaju, as always, popularly known as Maosha, is the general manager of Diamond 88.7 FM, our own shining supreme radio station. Also with me is Reverend Felix Ajide. He is the retired deputy editor-in-chief of NAN, and also Mr. Abayomi Adeniji, a public affairs commentator, also a vast journalist who have done a whole lot of job, be it in security, politics, a whole lot he has seen in this aspect of the job, journalism, and also in our dear nation, Nigeria. My name is Adeyemi Adewale. If you are just tuning in, the program is Editors Hangouts, broadcasting live from Diamond 88.7 FM in Ilorin, Kwara State, North Central Nigeria. You can listen and be part of the program irrespective of your location by logging on to any of Diamond 88.7 FM's online platform via www.diamondfm.net or at Diamond 87 FM on X, from local Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Quickly on the show this morning, we'll be discussing about the recent statement from the Minister of Power, Mr. Adelabu, about the removal of subsidy in the power sector in Nigeria, and also is a season of defections in Nigerian politics. If time permits, we dabble into the defection in the Nigerian politics. We saw a lot of it in Delta State, the Delta State governor meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday. So we look at all the things also in prediction and in consequence, looking at what is going to happen ahead of the 2027 general election. Let me say good morning to my senior colleagues in the building. Good morning, Tars. Let's start with Mao. It's nice to have you this morning.
Good morning, the anchorman. Good morning to our listeners all over the world.
Good morning, Alhaji Abayomi. Let me come back to you.
Good morning, the anchorman. Good morning, listeners at home.
Good morning, Reverend Felix. It's nice to have you back.
Thank you very much. Good morning, our esteemed listener and our coordinator there. Thank you very much.
My veteran colleague, Mr. Abayomi Adeniji. Good morning to you.
Well, I would like to say good morning to everybody, and I want to thank you for having me in this your very beautiful, ultra-modern, state-of-the-art studio. Thank you very much.
Also, let's also say a very big thank you for the description of our ultra-modern, very beautiful, modern, international studio right here at Diamond 88.7 FM. Now, guys, quickly, let's get started with the conversation. Let's quickly give you a bit of information just to refresh your memory of what we are discussing about and why are we discussing about these things. What is the history behind it? I think over the weekend, particularly on Sunday, the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu under the federal government of Nigeria, said a meeting has been scheduled by the presidency as of Sunday and the leadership of the power generation companies in Nigeria, the GENCOs, over a 4 trillion naira debt, warning Nigerians to prepare for higher electricity tariff once subsidy is removed in the power sector. So just to break this down a bit, to the layman, the presidency, the federal government told us over the weekend that they've paid the 4 trillion naira debt to the Gencos. Now the minister of power breaking it down, saying Nigerians should wait for higher, the Nigerians should expect higher debt. Now, just to give you a background knowledge of what is happening here, when the presidency, also the president was sworn into power May 29, he removed subsidy completely in electronics. Let me get your reaction from this message from our Minister of Power. Let me start with Mr. Adeyemi Adeyemi.
Well, once again, I want to say thank you. It is painful that a sector that is so underperforming is so intent on milking Nigerians and forcing us to pay for darkness. I live in a community called Osin in Ilorin West Council area, maybe about 5 kilometers away from here. In the whole of last week, if we take 24 hours in a day, 24 times 3, that's 144. 144 times 2, that's 288. So in 6 days, 288 hours, maybe we had electric power for 8 hours.
Was it up to 8 hours? They tried.
I'm just saying, no, in a period of 6 days, maybe we had power for up to 6 hours. In the period, I had to resort back to drawing water from the well because I could not pump water for my family to use. Now, my own is good. When you go to places like Gomel in Jigawa State, where the wells are so deep that they tie the rope to the neck of a donkey. So if there is no power there, you wonder the suffering. There are hospitals in Nigeria where if you want to go through a medical or surgical procedure, you have to buy petrol. I'm talking of public hospitals now, for the generator of that unit to serve you. I can go on and on. So a service that is so poor in delivery and is always insisting on increase, I think it is unjustified. One newspaper carried out a poll, and in that poll they said that 64% of Nigerians are dissatisfied with NEPA, or well, with the power sector operations. Now, so in fundamental yes or no terms, I am opposed to any tariff increase in the power sector in fundamental terms.
Being made available for the people has contributed more to the social dislocation we are witnessing in Nigeria today. When artisans could not get even power, they could not get electricity to actually power their businesses. You find a lot of them riding Okada.
GM, for the layman listening to us, who are the artisans?
The artisans, like the mechanics, the weather, and all the many
average Nigerian doing semi-skilled work on the streets.
On the streets. Is because most of them could not get electricity to actually do their businesses. That is why many of them go into riding of Okadas, which is not even helping the nation. It's reducing the level of productivity of the country. So power, as the unavailability of power, has contributed more to low productivity in this nation. It is this same power that is always arguing for increase in the tariffs, increase in the payments, and with the payments being made already by those sectors like Band A and others that have been made to pay. Has it translated to an improvement?
Reverend, let me come to you. I think I also saw a report sometimes, is it during the week or last week, where was it even Bayo Nonuga? Can't really pinpoint it. Where he was saying since the removal of subsidy, the Band A people have been enjoying a bit of stable power supply. So probably from the aspect of the government, they might want to argue that why we are where we are is because there's no fund for investment in the power sector, and probably these might bring fund into the power sector, and in turn improve the output that we Nigerians we are enjoying. Can I get your reaction on that?
Actually, it is very, very unfortunate where we find ourselves because we are generating power, electricity here in Nigeria, and with the level of our education, we understand there are so many ways we can generate electricity, but government just simply fail to not to look on those sides, and still we still fail to generate up to the number the megawatt we need in this country. And once again, we discovered that there are countries who are supplying electricity and they are enjoying stable electricity compared to Nigerians.
Was it down to payment of subsidy? Would it be down to it?
And I want to believe that the issue of subsidy should not even come in right now, because since the government decided to part with this thing and give it to private sectors, I wouldn't understand what would really been able to benefit from this. Then again, we have been paying for more darkness. And I want to believe that if we can have stable electricity, Nigerians wouldn't mind to pay. But the frustration is you are not even having it and you are paying it. Look at my own example, for instance. That I took them up the other time. They said in the same community, just in Gbagba here, they said my own sector is above other neighbor. I said, why? Is it because I'm living in this building, or I painted the building, or what happened? That you just look from outside and you think I should pay more. So this is the problem. So if you have stable electricity, I'm telling you that even the artisan people will be ready to pay, because once you pay and you know that you just like MTN, all this thing, you know that you have value for whatever, but we are not getting value for what you are paying for, and this is the problem. So the issue of subsidy is just a language they are using to cheat us. That's the let me see it that way. It's just a technical language and it's not good enough. From the past, we've been spending a lot of money on the power sector, but it's not showing. We are not getting any result from the money
like I was saying about from the angle of the federal government, some of those close to Mr. President have been arguing that look at the petroleum sector. They told us that when you remove subsidy, you will have supply. There won't be shortage of supply. And yes, we are having supply. That if you remove subsidy in power, we are going to be having constant power supply. And my question is, how viable is this going to be? Because Reverend also said, Nigerians, if we are sure we will get that power supply 247 stable, not the one that candle will be brighter than, or I will go and start taking lantern, or you cannot even pump my water, like I also experienced my own compound this morning before leaving my house. Nigerians are willing to pay for that. With this removal of subsidy, get us there to having stable power supply.
Thank you, the anchorman. I want to say, without mincing words, that energy subsidies are nothing alien, or it's not something strange, and it's not something out of place. One thing is this: electricity is quite important to our modern life, and very important too, and essential in respect of our economy. And once we fail to do the right thing, it will affect the after effects can better be imagined. Number one, when we talk of developed economies, we talk of UK, US, Australia, and others. In Australia this year, each household will get $300 rebate, while SMEs, the small business owners, will get $325 rebate. In UK, in 2023, the government announced that it already spent or committed the sum of £20 billion to energy subsidies. In US, there are subsidies on energy. So what to make our own different? And when you're saying you're talking about, and one thing that I don't even want to welcome at all is what the minister said. He said there will be removal of subsidies, but economically disadvantaged people will be considered. They have started again. When there was subsidy on petrol, everybody was enjoying it. You removed it. You started giving money to the governors and local government chairmen. They started using it for whatever they want. And the after effects are there. One thing that people don't understand is this. When people talk about subsidy, removal of subsidy on petrol, I just laugh. Go to the universities. How many lecturers, how many of them have been going to their respective campuses even 3 times in a week? I was aware of someone who will only go on Fridays. So what will he do? He will have so many students to attend to. Would that not affect the products?
But some will argue that his money has been increased because of the minimum wage. So that kind of person.
What is the level of the increment?
Sorry.
What is the level of the increment?
See. Don't go there. Don't go there at all. ASU Memorandum of Action is 2009. Among the requirements of that thing is that a professor should earn 600,000 in 2009. Professors are still earning 440,000 as we speak.
What is even 600 to this?
No, it was their demand in 2009. How many of us here, where were we in 2009, apart from people like you or me like this? Where were you in 2009?
And yourself.
So in 2009, ASU was demanding for professors a salary of 600,000 naira. This is a nation where our legislators are taking like 29 million home in a month. And up to now, a professor cannot earn 600,000. If you look at it, from my own 4 kilometers to come here, I spent 1,000 naira. So a professor of University of Ilorin living at Adewale, how much will it cost him? Either by his motor or by public transport to go to the campus, or in Ife, or in Ibadan. So don't go there. Just this power thing, like Alhaji Yomi said, government is cheating us. There was one time, these same disco people, they disconnected my light for more than 1 year. At that time, petrol was slightly affordable. So I know that if I put my gen on for 2 hours, whatever I require, I will be able to achieve.
Electricity to it, it will worsen socio-economic conditions of Nigerians. And it will now make people do away with whatever it is morality. And what are the effects? See, when we were paying subsidy, what was the level of, the rate that people were trying to encourage morality or promote morality? What is the level now?
No.
Everything is about money. That is even this defection, it will continue. So what we are saying is this: there is no country in the world that is not subsidizing. Continue to subsidize. If you want to say you are removing it, remove it totally. Because when you say economically disadvantaged Nigeria, what is the parameter? Who will be the one to determine it? It will just be an avenue for some people to start making cool money again. We don't want that.
Let's look at service delivery, because my veteran colleague here, Mr. Adeyemi, just talked about service delivery and the fact that it's been built high. Some also in the argument of the government look at this and say, let's look at what is it called, the meter billing that we now have right now. Not the artificial billing that we had back in those days when we had NEPA. Some say this has actually improved the billing thing. That if you have the meter in your house, is the experience that it just says he encountered, probably will not encounter this. So these are some of the arguments from the aspect of the government. And they say when you have removal of subsidy, this will bring down the corruption in the power sector and improve productivity and delivery to the people of Nigeria.
In other climes.
Mr. Adewale, I want you to do one thing after this program. The Tokyo Olympic Stadium, go and find out how many thousand megawatts they are consuming. Just one stadium in Tokyo. And look at that figure of the whole of Nigeria. you will know that we have not started at all.
So, so we are talking about investment. With removal of subsidy, not bring more investment to invest in the power sector.
The one they have been investing since the integrated presidential power project of Obasanjo, what has happened to it? Since that time, the installed capacity of generation has not improved now.
But they will tell you probably corruption. That this is also.
It's not probably. It is.
That is the problem.
That's what I'm saying. That probably this will take away corruption.
You see, my fear is that this phase of power supply in the last 2 years is being directed towards producing a new governor for your state. That is the painful part. But you see, one has to be very careful because we are on air. But because you see, the monies have been allocated now. So why have they not gone to take us to say, okay, this is the new transmission line from this is the new this and that. Every time it's generation are being schools that are refusing to give us meters. And to me, the reason is very simple. They don't want that transparency. They prefer the estimated billing. You know?
Will this not bring in transparency, removal of subsidy? Will it not bring in transparency?
No, we don't remove subsidy. Provide the service first. When you are, you see now, in the case of the petrol, it was clear that the subsidy was bringing in non-market factors into the supply chain. It was very clear. If you go to some states in Nigeria, you will see filling station, and the filling station is not selling fuel, yet just in front of the filling station, they are selling fillings, the bangbaro. So I think the situation in the fuel thing was clear. But I want to quarrel with Mao. When you are talking of people suffering from power, high cost of power, and the removal of subsidy in fuel, but you see, some people are committed to broadcasting, to financing broadcasting and operating broadcasting. So we must commend those people. It is those caliber of people that we need to man the power sector. Because I strongly believe that the issue in the power sector is the absence of will. We need some exceptionally committed Nigerians to man that power sector.
But those people will tell you that coming with investment, their money. That probably the power sector
Look,
is
let me tell you, it is due to the fact that the government itself knows that the power sector is failing. That is why the Aso Rock is now investing into
alternative power, national grid. What does that tell you? That means the government. Sorry, please go on, sir.
And if we need to do that, to look for alternatives, we need to do it fast. Because I believe that if probably we should go into alternative power supply, maybe the Genco and all these people will be able to realize themselves and come back alive. There should be a challenge. Then
they go into things like things that the private sector can handle. My circumstances are such that now, in those circumstances, say for instance now a governor wants to build a state hotel and he's committing the sum of say maybe 6 billion naira. I wonder how much would it cost? Say look at Kwara, Owu Falls. What is the head? Why can we not construct a dam along that axis? That can give us maybe 2,000 megawatts. I strongly believe the capacity is there. There is a National Water Resources Master Plan, Phase 2. It was updated under Abacha. A number of waterways were seen as capable of generating hydroelectric power. I know that there is one in Gaski in Kebbi State. I cannot recollect the one in Kwara, but I do not believe that that none of the waterways in Kwara is capable of generating hydroelectric power. The time to start is now. But you see, the gestation period of such a project is much longer than it would be for the construction of a new Shiroro hotel, so a new state hotel, for instance, or rehabilitation of courtrooms. I mean, so there is that mercantilist element in our political economy. River State used to have a turbine. They sold it to God knows who. Why? The structure of the REBs, the Rural Electrification Boards, can still provide 4-5 hours of power for many of the rural communities they used to serve in the past. What happened to all those 250 kVA generators of that
journalists, let's look at the way forward, because
that's what I'm telling you, that governors, and now the legislation has been eased, power has been taken to concurrent. So any serious governor in Nigeria today, with the money that they are getting from the subsidy removal, because you see, a lot of people don't seem to realize that that money that they are getting from subsidy removal has brought in, there is one language, increased liquidity at all levels of government. So this increased liquidity, what are they using it for? So to say that investment, I mean, let's talk to ourselves. Let's not forget that Transparency International says Nigeria's power sector is the most corrupt sector in the Nigerian economy. Let us bear that in mind.
Which is why I actually pointed the fact that some of them are saying these might bring more transparency into the power sector, which is where I want to go to. Let's look at when we previously had privatization in the discourse. This was supposed to bring in, also tackle corruption. When we brought in the discourse from NEPA to PHCN, you know, let's undo power generation. You can undo transmission and distribution of power. That is the
truth is that the ownership structure has already killed most of the discourse from onset.
What do we understand by the ownership structure?
The ownership structure, who are the owners of the discourse? Who are the shareholders? Are they not the same set of people who created problems for us?
Did they have shareholder? Because I want to quote a sitting senator.
Please go, so quote him. Let's hear what he said.
Senator Adams who said in the Senate that they claim to be like Chairman Mao said, a shareholder, but there seems to have someone taking an autocratic decision in every discourse, and they say it's out of what make them discourse back then, that there's a percentage that the government still had a bit of percent in them, so it has to be a board meeting collective decision when you are taking your decision. But it seems to be a chairman sitting down somewhere and just taking decision.
That is it.
Even when we also look at into our transmission into privatization, it seems we are not even into privatization.
Adewale, slow down. You see, when they say they are shareholders, once you own 51% of the authorized share capital of a given corporate entity, you make decisions as you want. That is the reality of corporate governance, not only in Nigeria. 51%. Once you hold 51%. So if, for instance, somebody that has a bigger beard than my own owns Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company, he owns 51% of the authorized share capital. And he says that, look, this power is not going to Kakuri, it is going to Tudunwada. Then it goes to Tudunwada, simple, and remove subsidy and took petrol to 39 kobo per litre. So till tomorrow, me, I don't know which subsidy they are removing.
Still removing. Every year they are still removing.
You get it? That is one. Secondly, I've given you one assignment. I'll give you another one. Of all the privatized entities in Nigeria, apart from DIC Salt, which was taken over by Dangote, I am not aware of any private. Maybe there's one oil palm company, maybe in Delta. I do not know any privatized industry that is working in Nigeria. Jeba Paper Mills, Nigeria's Sugar Company. Just take those two strategic industries in Kwara State. So privatization has not worked for Nigeria. We have to be realistic. So to just say as if the private sector has one magic wand. This Dangote that we are praising, he's doing very well in the petroleum sector. I praise him. But he's the person that bought Oshobo Steel Rolling Mill. What are they doing? They simply stripped it of assets, and now it is simply there to serve as collateral for papers. But the Nigerian power sector requires something drastic. Unfortunately, the nature of politics. I told you about the governorship race in Oyo State. Eh? As long as somebody who is aspiring to be something is given office, the first thing he will do is to direct the whole to himself rather than the duty is expected to deliver. We must be realistic. So I am pessimistic about it. How many state governors have gone to provide transformer, pole wire for their people?
Okay,
Statistics
Senator
now
Adams
say
Oshiomhole
yes.
said that's not their own job. That it should be the discos who should be doing that when you have the agreement between them and the federal government.
And even when you do it, who owns it? Even when you do it, they force you in the community to buy transformer. Who owns it? They come back and say,
So the fact of the matter is that somehow, we are simply refusing to take options.
that's it.
I want to commend Oshiomhole and some other governors for their efforts in planting transformers in their respective states. But the reality still is that over 80 million Nigerians still do not have access to electric power.
0913-655-6952. 0913-655-6952. That's the number to call. We're talking about the proposed, how should I put it, proposed efforts from the federal government, and telling Nigerians that we should get ready for increase in electricity tariff in the power sector, because there is a possibility critically look at how we can improve it. What is the way forward? And part of the way forward, of course, is urging state government to also look into investment in the power sector. This, journalists in the studio believe, could go a long way in terms of helping us improve our power generation. Let's share your own thoughts together. 0913-655-6952. What's your opinion on the removal of subsidy in the power sector? WhatsApp is 0913-655-6864. 0913.
Removal of subsidy for now. Nigerians are down financially. The economy is creating a lot of problems for many Nigerians. Increasing insecurity. So whatever they want to do, they should please forget about removing subsidy for now. Even the one they have removed already on the electricity,
And
it's a bandy, and so it's affecting many people. The artisans, they cannot even if they get work now, many of them cannot do it.
That it's a big corruption in this sector, and it's a continuous something. I've been talking about this every blessed day, and the government is not ready to listen to us. You told us you are going to abroad to bring a foreign investor, and you now back now say there will never be a progress in any foreign investor if they are not secure, and if electricity is not secure. Can you see where we are going now? What is the problem? Fooling somebody, and they are just following up. They are using our money to operate their business. That is their problem, because it is not fair, and it's not fair. Let us be reality. What they are doing to us is not fair. It's too much rip-off, and it's too much robbery. They are robbing us too much. It's too much. We are not progressing now.
Thank you very much,
Like
Mr.
I think here you are talking about these people have collected money to work, but they don't have the right to work for. Some of them are already in prison. Let me tell you the fact. Some of them are in jail because they collect money. They don't do the job, and it's not their fault because of the lights. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi from Moro.
The federal government get its hands off the transition. Let everything be privatized. Generation, transmission, and distribution. Then the federal government can then arrange separately for communities or group of individuals to have this solar power. Assist them to have this solar power. So this private something will be
saying the APC has had over 20 PDP lawmakers also added to them, and PDP has 2 from the Labour Party. Begs the question, what is happening in our political space? We know we see defections, but this sort of defection cause for concern. So what do we think is the problem in our political space?
Suffer more. That was a Republican president. In the American grand old party system, Ronald Reagan was a high priest of conservatism in the political sector. Today, that same Republican Party is the champion of the imposition of tariffs. So nothing lasts forever. So the general of politics, so to say, is now the president of Nigeria. Because, if it were a soldier now, like Obasanjo or Buhari, we said he's using military tactics. But this one, he is
the defectment. Before we go to the impact in the 2027 general election, where we bring in the people, can we solely blame the president on this? Because we've seen two different things. A whole lot of people, Body George himself, have come out to say this could be blamed on the current administration. He alleged that they are chasing people with EFCC, some being, as rightfully said, toasted with money, and every other
Says that we want to go to Mr. A, but before we go to Mr. A, about 2 or 3 of us come together again that say, look, this will not be productive to us. Let us call 1 or 2 persons out of the 6 so that we become 4, we become majority. Then we now change our bits to Mr.
And there's nothing
B.
that seems to be bad in that in the political
That's
game.
another conspiracy on its
that's
own.
politics now.
And that is politics.
It's politics.
So
It is
meaning
a
we
game.
cannot blame the
Like
president
we have
in the
football.
defection.
In football, there is a transfer season. The leadership of another group to permeate that partition group. And this is exactly what is really happening.
Alhaji, most of us in the studio have looked at this and say it is not, we can't blame Mr. President.
Why are you so fixated with Mr. President now?
Exactly. And
He's
that's
only
because-
one man now.
That's because we've had a lot
Leave
of,
him out of this.
that's because we've had a lot of the so-called elders in the opposition party who have alleged that in this situation their members, probably governors, House of Rep members, have either been senators, have either been bought by money, or some of them have been chased by the EFCC. And in these cases, if we look at, let's
So
say,
is
case
it
for
the
example,
president?
Not the interest of Nigeria, not the interest of the populace, not the interest of the voters, but personal interest. Just like somebody said, political party situation in Nigeria is stomach infrastructure all about. You understand? In a situation where we have that, then we have with very weak legal system. So this is what you have. So you can't. There's nothing you can do. There is a legal thing against MP defecting, but we've not been able to put that to test.
What's the hope of the common man going to 2027 general election, Alhaji Akinlolu? Because as a
When somebody uses a knife to knife someone to death in your presence, if he's holding a razor, you will run away. We have a president who sat at the presidential villa, declared a governor suspended, and nothing happened. And what do you think will happen to other governors?
I thought it was the National
What do you
Assembly.
think will happen?
I thought it was the National Assembly that did that.
Later it was happened. And what happened?
But the Constitution gives him that power, no?
Because time is almost gone. No, the thing is, we have instances and development security issue in Yobe and one other state in the north. But it didn't sack the governors. But we now have a governor who was declared sacked via a televised speech.
Suspended.
And suspended. Well, the same thing. Sacked for 6 months, and nothing happened.
suspended for 6 months.
Nothing happened. So, what do you think will happen to other governors? And if for you to know the implications, I will call your attention to it. The same week, there were agitations in a democracy where people at the subnational level are not free to do anything anymore because, like I told you, I gave you an example. Somebody who uses a knife to knife somebody to death in your presence, if he's holding a razor, you will run away.
This message is from Prince Bankole Owakajola. He says, what is the essence of subsidy handed over to the governors when we know the most of these governors would commit or divert such money into their personal investment instead of establishing viable industries whereby employment opportunities will be open to the young graduates? The said subsidy could partially be used to improve on our electricity daily of the government. Thank you very much for your message. However, that is not certain for all. I say it again. We would
We'll survive.
keep surviving from our dear nation, Nigeria. Let's see if I can get this last caller. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're
Hello,
calling
good morning. Bamidele again.
from? Bamidele, good morning. Quickly, let's have your contribution.
I want to tell you, I will not blame President for defections. I will blame Atiku.
Okay.
Let Atiku drop his presidential ambition today. You will see dynamism in politics. Those who are saying yes, yes, are pushing. Did they pick Obaseki?
Part of the reasons why I felt that it will get to a point that there will be implosion within APC itself.
I hope we can get more time to obviously discuss this defection issue, but our time is really fast spent. Thank you very much, veteran colleagues, joining me on the show this morning. My name is Adeyemi Adewale. Special thanks to our general manager Maosha, the producer of this show, Editors Hangout. Until next week Wednesday, when we come your way again, don't forget when you wake up, be optimistic and say a word of prayer for Nigeria. From me, I'm saying, God bless Nigeria. God bless our dear nation. Good morning.